Hi,
What's up,
how's it going,
everyone?
ladies?
Welcome to
Hello.
Three Chicks in a Pod, everybody. Sorry I have been gone for a little while. The ladies have been holding it down in my absence. Sad that I missed those shows, though. They were excellent shows. Thank you, ladies, for carrying the show.
Well, you're
Uh,
always missed, just so you know. But
yes,
Thank you.
it's not
Very
really
nice.
Three Chicks without Megan.
exactly. Because we're the original three chicks. Okay.
Right, absolutely. Okay, sorry, I was changing my settings on my live feed because it said it was locked and nobody could see it.
Yeah.
Okay, so this week, what we're going to be talking about is the week 6 for the NFL. And then also, we're going to be talking about the MLB playoffs. And then we have a special person that we are going to do a birthday shout out for. So make sure you stay tuned for that. To start us off, let's do a rundown of week 6 in the NFL. We've also had a couple of headlines. You want to touch on the headlines first, and then we'll jump into what happened during week 6.
Sure. So some of this was like really breaking today. So, and some of it was last week. Last week, Dan Snyder came out and said, or a report came out that he had private eyes on Goodell and all 31 other team owners, right? Nobody really tried to make a deal about this. But then today, Ursi came out and said that they have 25 owners ready to boot him, pretty much. Goodell came out about 30 minutes ago via Twitter to Adam Schefter saying that it was too early to discuss that. But my question, as I posed to you ladies earlier, Mr. Goodell, are you a team owner?
And just
Because
for those
they
that are
pick up the phone and
those
talk
that
to
are
each
like
other without
me,
you.
those that are like me, Ursi is the owner of the Colts. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, just so others
Sorry.
are on the same page as me, because that would not mean anything unless I was a Colts fan. So just like me throwing out other names, unless you have something to anchor it with, I just wanted everybody to know who that was.
Thank you. I appreciate you clarifying that. So I think this is about to get even more exciting. I do think that we have the situation with Dan Snyder that isn't going to end anytime soon. I do think he's going to have to face some federal pen time as well because of 2 sets of bucks. IRS does not look kindly on that whatsoever. And that's how they get all the mafia dudes.
Right.
So,
Very true.
And I think that Goodell is speaking up because it's his job that's going to be on the line, depending on what comes out. And he's not really, who doesn't want to save their job?
Right. No, absolutely. Right. It's that old cover your ass saying, you know.
Yeah.
I'm sure that he's got the NFL has always been that way. Even when we've talked about concussions and all those issues with CTE, like they always took care of themselves first and then handled whatever with the players or anybody else. Like I think even with the owners, like that the NFL and the commission, like they're gonna take care of themselves first. And you know, if an owner has to get put out, then I guess the owner has to get put out. But wouldn't that be pretty shocking? Because have we seen that in the NFL yet? We've seen it in the NBA, but have we ever seen that in the NFL before?
No.
No.
Not that I can think of.
But I think what's giving them, the NFL owners, the balls to do it is because of the NBA and the server situation. And I mean, so thank you, NBA owners. Thanks, Michael Jordan, for stepping up
it's
and
water,
to get out.
It's water.
But what's mine?
It's
Jay, water. I heard that fart from here, dude. Literally.
Just so you know, Jesus has been near.
That's funny. Okay, so speaking of NFL owners, there's been some things that came out about Jerry Jones. Since that is my team, but always a woman and a human being first. Forget the team. There have been some allegations that were disputed, charges were dropped. Is that right, ladies?
It was
so the case was dismissed, but the lady has never did sound, never.
You
But
put it
the
out
case
there
was
for the
dismissed,
video.
but she is appealing the dismissal so that she can bring the lawsuit again.
Okay.
So
I will always say this, that if that person is guilty of that, if Jerry is guilty of that, then he deserves whatever he's going to get. Now,
Yep.
he's the owner of the richest franchise in the world, sports franchise in the world. So I seriously doubt they're going to put him out the league. But if it is criminal or if it is civil, if something were to happen, I hope he gets whatever he deserves if he's guilty.
Oh, agreed.
Absolutely.
But I feel like NFL owners, with the exception of how egregious Snyder has been, are kind of like the presidents, and they're never actually going to go to jail.
No, but did you see? The NFL just released how much Cronky is going to have to pay the city of St. Louis for the settlement between when Cronky moved the Rams to California. Oh, my cat just decided to yank on things. Sorry.
No problem.
Oh, that was fun. Cronky is now going to be responsible for this, like, what was it, $774 million? Cronky is now responsible for $571 million of that settlement. Not that he will let his pockets get affected, but he's still responsible for it.
And that's what stinks, because I feel like, I know the NFL is a business and I get that, but he did the city of St. Louis dirty.
Absolutely.
And just because they built like 3 different plans for new stadiums, and none of those plans to even do that are cheap.
Right.
And well, yeah, absolutely, Walter. He does. And
we're going to
jacked up.
Yeah, we're going to pay for it. As consumers, we're going to pay for that money, because he's not going to let his money be affected. It's going to be us.
Right.
Without a doubt.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's get into what actually happened this week in the NFL. First off, Thursday night matchups have been atrocious, except for, I think, week 1 we had a good matchup. But that was the Chargers and Chiefs. Right. And so what do they need to do in order to make their schedules better? Because there's even times when it seems like the prime time matchups, Thursday night, even sometimes Sunday night football, and even Monday night football has not been great. Like, obviously, everybody thought that Russell Wilson was going to be doing better in Denver, and that's not the case. So are we going to be forced to watch them in primetime games, or are they going to move them?
See, that's what I think, is they want to load the big moves into prime time, and Russ Wilson was a big move. That was a stellar deal that went down in the offseason. So I think that they wanted to load up prime time to begin with, not realizing that one, Russell's he's not prime time Russell Wilson. 2, they have a brand new coach, and 3, they traded away the team and threw out the baby with the water to get Russell. So what did they think was going to be left in Denver? That's my thought.
Well, here's the deal. I think you're funny, but you love the Broncos so much, Kari.
They're my favorite. Too. They're my favorite.
They but and I even told like our resident Broncos fan Jordan, I was like, this season is not going to be what you expect. New head coach, new quarterback. They traded everybody to get him. You're going to be struggling for the next year, 2 years, 3 to 4 years. You're going to be back.
And then how old is he going to be then? And we're already seeing the signs of aging, and that was my thought too when they paid him all that money. And I never knock anybody for getting paid, and especially not an African-American man leading a team, because it's just it doesn't happen that much in the NFL. So I definitely think, I definitely always want to look at that in a positive light. And that was my thought. That was my immediate thought was, I have not seen him in that form for $245 million. Isn't that how much they gave him? Like that,
something like that.
I don't know. 245. Yeah,
but it's kind of like Rodgers and Green Bay. Aaron took all that money Nobody else had
Oh,
one.
yeah. Speaking of Aaron Rodgers, let's go ahead and talk about it. Okay, so in the 1 o'clock games, we had 4 upsets. Green Bay being one of them. I am so sorry, Tyler. KP, love you guys to death, but what the hell happened? Y'all lost to the Jets.
Just nothing.
Don't ever do that again, Carrie. That is not a pretty look on you.
Here's an interesting thought that was brought up on one of the shows the other day, on Monday. Tom Brady, who also lost, and Aaron Rodgers are in the worst launch of a season either one of them have had. Plus, you add in Russell Wilson not having a good season. You've got seasoned quarterbacks tanking.
Yes, Candy, we love you, but mainly Aaron.
So it was interesting, though, that this is Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady's worst start to an NFL season in either one of their careers.
I still stand by the fact, and Candy, I'm sorry. Last year, they were playing in Florida. It was New Orleans, and Aaron got benched. Then he turned it around. Can Aaron turn it around? Who knows? He ended up turning it around to get MVP.
Right.
But he had Devontae Adams still.
Right. I think that he doesn't quite have the weapons that he did have. And the same thing is in Tampa Bay. Like, they don't quite have the weapons that they had last season. Their O-line is not what it was last season. And then also, you got the shocker for the NFC East. The Giants are now 5-1. They beat the Ravens 24-20. That was one of the upsets as well. Any thoughts on New York?
I mean, I'm just saying, Daniel Jones is actually looking like he went to a real football school. So good job, Dayball. Like, literally.
Well, I don't know if I would go that far, because he put up 173 yards. So, I mean, did he do what he needed to do? He had 19 passes out of 20, or he completed 19 out of 27. And so, I mean, what he did do was accurate, but I feel like that offense runs through Saquon, not Daniel Jones.
No, but Saquon is making Daniel look good.
Absolutely.
So that's why I said it makes him look like he went to a football school. He went to Duke. So that's why I forgot
about that. Okay.
Like, I don't know where most players go, but that one I remember because I'm like, dang.
What about B More? What does this say about B More? Does this loss say more about New York, or does it say more about Baltimore?
I think Baltimore. I think New York.
No, I think if you'll pay attention, Lamar is falling off in the fourth quarter. I think it's because he is so tired by the time he hits the fourth quarter. That's where he falls apart, because he's trying to carry the entire. He's wanting to play all 50, all positions on the field. He can't, and he's trying to carry the team. He balls out for the first 3 quarters, and then the fourth quarter is where he has the issues, and that's where they lose their games. I think that says a lot about Lamar currently and him trying to prove his worth. That's my thought.
Okay. And then the other upset at the 1 o'clock games, we had the Niners lose to the Falcons 28-14. And once again, San Fran knows how to mess up the picks. This week was kind of rough with the pick'ems anyway. I don't think any of us would have picked New York over the Packers unless you're Michael Caratinito.
Okay, so first of all, Shanahan came from Atlanta, so for me, that was always going to be a toss-up, to be honest with you, because it's where he came from. Quinn's with him. Also, came from Atlanta. You get stage fright when you go home. So that one to me was not shocking whatsoever. Plus, people underestimate how dirty the Falcons are. Like, I literally cannot stand them. Like, they are dirty, dirty, dirty. Like, just seeing them play. I see them play 2 times a year, like, minimum. So,
what about Okay, I picked the Seahawks to beat the Cardinals, so I wasn't too surprised by that result. But what about the Vikings? Do we think the Vikings have turned a corner? They got rid of Mike Zimmer. It seems like they're getting above that mediocre mark where they were like 50-50 on the win-loss column. We know Kirk Cousins was on that 50 mark, and it seems like so far they're playing much better. Is it because their schedule is favorable, or have they turned a corner?
I think the favorable schedule helps them turn a corner because sometimes you only need to win that one game to go to get on that win streak. In my opinion, like just as a former athlete, that's what you sometimes need. You need that W to change the
momentum.
the mental game, and bring that positivity back in the locker room. That's why, like I was saying in our chat the other day, I was like, we need to beat the Bucks this weekend. Like, especially with the new head coach, especially getting rid of some certain carcinogenics in our locker room. You know, we need to win this weekend. And good luck, Cardinals. I hope he does better for you than he did for us. He was a brat with us.
And then for the game of the week was the Bills versus the Chiefs. I felt like we had two games of the week because we also had the Cowboys and the Eagles. And that was your primetime Sunday night football game. Bills and Chiefs, it was a really close game. I expected it to be a close game like this, but I just had it going in the other direction. Like I expected the Chiefs.
I did too.
To win the regular season matchup, because I really feel like we're going to see them clash again in the postseason. I think that's what it's going to come down to. And I would much rather see the Chiefs win in the postseason. So maybe this loss isn't that bad of a loss.
Just to refresh people's memory, we lost to the Bills in Arrowhead Stadium last year when we had a rough start.
Right.
So, and then on top of that, we had 7 rookies on the field. 7 rookies on the field. One of which was burnt twice because it was his first NFL game. So Williams, Walker, or something. I can't remember the cornerback that got burnt twice for a touchdown. It was his first game. But if you in the carousel, I said that our secondary is weak, and we were really weakened by the fact that we had injuries back there. So, because we're at the bottom in pass rush defense, so that's where we need to strengthen. I am not upset at all about our loss. Did I want the win? Absolutely. Everyone wants the win.
Of course. Oh, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, you always want that win.
We saw the maturation of JuJu as a Chief and him getting into the end zone. That's huge. I mean, I don't care who you are. The first time you get to get in the end zone with your team, that's huge. I think that's going to ignite. That's going to start a flame there. MVS, we're seeing him really step up. Him and McKinnon really step up. So Patrick made 2 key errors in the red zone. In the red zoning and trying to get us down to score. And those 2 were pivotal. And that's where Patrick was trying to do the dunk and dive, the street ball, do it when at all costs, and it bit us. And I'm not even mad about that. I think it's really great that we kept the score where we kept it, because it could have been a shootout.
It could have been. And speaking of, a shootout, the first quarter of the Dallas-Philadelphia game, that was ugly. And it just, as it was going on, I was like, man, this is really what I expected. And then we showed up and we played the third quarter. But that's the only quarter of football that we played. We played well in that third quarter. I can't knock them for that. Everybody knows I'm a huge Dak fan. And while I'm not disheartened by this loss of Cooper Rush, but I think this just goes and shows and solidifies that he's our QB2. I think that solidifies that. Now, do I still feel like Dak has a lot to prove? Absolutely, because where I'm concerned is, y'all remember when Russ had the start of last season, he was like, they were talking about MVP. Like, he had a really great start. He was an early contender for the MVP. And then the last half of the season, he played injured, he played awful. And then now this season, we don't think he's ever going to be the same again. And that's kind of where I'm concerned, because Dak had he came back from the injury really well, and he had a great first half of the season last year. And then the second half, he did not perform well. And then the start of the season, he gets injured in week 1. So he needs to come back and have a big performance. Now, I do think we did the right thing by not playing him. I think that regardless of who our QB was in this matchup, I think that a loss was very possible either way. I think Philadelphia is a very well-rounded team. Speaking about rush defense, they have one of the best rush defenses in the league. And so I wasn't too surprised that our offense just couldn't get it going. Now, in the third quarter, we looked good. Like that third quarter, I was like, oh my goodness, we're making it a ball game. And then, fourth quarter hit and we did Cowboy things. So I still want to see more out of CD Lamb. Like you're basically our only receiver. It's you and Gallup. Like y'all the only 2 receivers we got. I do like what we have going on with our tight end position. I think that's kind of like our little shining light right over there. We've got 2 real decent ones, above average for sure. But as far as our receiver core, I'm not surprised that we lost this matchup.
I wasn't laughing at you.
You
I've
and
read
me
the last
both.
line.
You and me both. Like, is he?
And you know what,
serious?
Denzel? Honestly, straight up, him snorting some high quality stuff is
No,
not news to
Noah Brown.
anybody.
No, you're right. Noah Brown shows a lot more promise, and that is where I'm concerned with CD is like, how is Noah Brown showing you up? Like, you were our number 1 pick that year. Like, we had to take you. We needed to be focused on defense, but we couldn't do it because you were available, and that's how good you were in college. Like, we had to take you. It was a no-brainer. Jerry couldn't mess it up. So we took you in that first round. And I mean, while you had a great rookie season, you have not proved it since then. And so I'm going to need you, if you're going to wear the 88, you got to prove it, because I'm a Dez fan to the fullest. So you got to prove it.
Unpopular opinion, Megan, and I'm really sorry. I really think the Eagles would have beat the Cowboys anyway, even if Dak was playing.
No, I said the same thing. I said the same thing, regardless of right. No, I think Philadelphia is a very well-rounded team, and with them having such an excellent rush defense, that's what we were doing to get through those other games, was the run game. Zeke and Pollard. I mean, Zeke had a real decent game this game too, so I definitely, you can't blame him. But we need Dak to come back and have a big performance, and so that we can kind of bounce back from that. I do think that we have a favorable schedule, just like Philly, and we're worried about the exact same teams on our schedule. They're going to be worried about Green Bay in week 10, and I think we get them in week 11. And I think that we should both be very aware of the New York Giants. Like, they're not going anywhere currently, so I think those games, not only them being rivalry games, but just how well New York is playing, you can't count them out whatsoever. So definitely those are circled on my schedule. So let's do a quick rundown of what's going on in the MLB playoffs. We saw Atlanta, the defending champ, get knocked out by the Astros. The Yankees are, what's the score, ladies? I think they're on their way.
We'll look it up real quick.
I think it was 5-1 when we started the show. So Yankees look like they're going to be ending it in this game 5. And then we got the Padres, who knocked out the Dodgers, who had 111 wins, and they only had 1 postseason win. So that was pretty interesting as well. We saw the New York Mets, who had over 100 wins as well, and they didn't make it to the divisional round. Yankees won. Thank you, Candy. And so I think it's been really interesting this postseason, and especially with the Padres, because they've had some drama with one of their main players who got suspended for the rest, or for 60 games. Is that right? So they've had some drama, but they're still able to make it to the next round. And I felt like I've heard several people describe them as not a playoff team, but there they are.
Well, we heard the same thing last year in the NBA Finals with the Boston Celtics. Even you.
I know. Like, I found a post the other day where I was like, and when the Celtics don't make the playoffs, they made the dang finals. I don't know what
So when my resident Philadelphia man here, first of all, we had to go. The Cardinals were shut out by Philadelphia. The Phillies. That was not even. No one predicted that. Even again, my resident Philly person. So Phillies are
still resident.
Well, he can't be let out. I've got strict orders on that. Anyway, so it's interesting that the Phillies are still in it. Eagles are playing strong. The Sixers are going to be competitive. So it's an interesting. Philly's got an interesting thing going on right now.
Yeah,
Lord help me if they all three win.
I would love to. I mean, just because of Hani, would love to see the Yankees make it past the next round. But I feel like Houston is their kryptonite. Like, they have not beat Houston recently, and so that's going to be a huge undertaking for them to get past Houston. And I mean, I wouldn't want anything more for them to get past Houston. Sorry. Jay, I know that's your team, and you're from Houston. You're supposed to root for them, but I just want y'all to go back to the National League and get out of my division.
Okay. He's somewhere passing gas right now. You're good, Megan.
Okay.
Sorry, Jay. Have to get you back. I'm not gonna lie. I hope the Yankees beat the Astros too. No offense, Jay. I love you and your farts, but we But honestly, like, I hate how everybody always says, oh, every team cheats. Yeah, but that doesn't make it right. And the Astros cheated so egregiously that they changed the game of baseball for every single team. Yeah. And so that
but also I also want to chime in and say that the Red Sox got in trouble that same year for cheating too. So
that's true, they did.
I mean, I'm not gonna. I definitely don't want that to be as far as condoning it. Obviously, it was a problem. Oh, you do. That is not a lie.
That is not a lie. I mean, Megan, y'all are in the same state. She heard it all the way up there.
I'm in Amarillo. I'm 10.5 hours away. Ever since they came to the American League, the Rangers have not won the division. I hate them. That is the only reason. Just go. They were never even on my radar. I didn't care. Couldn't care less about Houston, and then all of a sudden they came to the American League. Not just the American League, my division. Hate them. Jordan made the shows too. I understand it. But on the happy side of things, to end the show,
hold on, Kari.
I gotta say, I have something that I had meant to bring up before we started this. That's kind of an interesting fact. And it's also kind of a happy note, and it definitely lines up with the 3 chicks in a pot. With the statement released like right at 5:00 today by the NFL of the training and hiring, and that
was really. I think it was released earlier than 5:00, but I know what you're talking about.
Anyway, was it? In the very last paragraph on the very last page, it was noted that they're trying to put up to make more opportunities for women coaches. Last year there were 12, and at the start of training camp this year there was 15. So a 25% increase year over in the amount of female coaches on teams. And I thought that was pretty cool. I think, especially being an all-female podcast, I thought that that's something to bring attention to. Now back to you for the fun story.
Well, first, I just want to say that the NBA is back today. Those of y'all that have been waiting for basketball season, which I heard several people say that, oh, basketball is finally back. Look, basketball was going on all summer long. You should have been watching the WNBA because it was a very exciting season. But for those 10 days that we didn't have basketball, I was really, really sad. And I'm glad that basketball is back. I am sad that I'm a Spurs fan and my eyes are already on the draft lottery.
Megan is
I will
legit
enjoy
so
the
sad
season.
about this because she
So
wouldn't even
sad.
smack talk with me tonight because
There's
our teams
nothing
are
to say.
playing
There's
each other.
nothing to say. There's nothing to say. Look, 10 games. That's what we're winning. 10 out of 82. And that's fine. We've only ever had the draft pick once before, and that was for Tim Duncan. So, I mean, I guess it was our turn to be bad. But I'm looking forward to next season, but I will enjoy the rest of basketball. I can't wait to see what's going on in Memphis. I'm excited for Denver basketball. I think that the Nuggets are going to be really interesting. We're going to see Jamal Murray come back from injury. When they acquired Aaron Gordon, they had Jokic, Aaron Gordon, and Jamal Murray, and they won every single game until Jamal Murray got hurt. So I think that they're a very interesting team. And then I think we're all kind of waiting to see what Cleveland's going to look like as well. They look really good on paper. They acquired Donovan Mitchell. They made some adjustments to their guards, shipped a couple of them over to Utah. So definitely excited. I think the Bucks are going to be contenders as well. So very excited for the NBA season. But lastly, our very good friend, Will Vogel, who is a huge Charlotte Hornets fan and UNC basketball. It is his birthday today.
And UConn women's basketball.
UConn women's basketball. You've been a fan of the show since the very beginning. And we are so grateful that you watch the show, you comment, you share, and you're on our other shows as well. So just a very happy birthday to Will Vogel from the ladies at Three Chicks. Do y'all have anything else?
Happy birthday, Will.
Happy birthday, Will. We love you, but you're not one of the three chicks, so we are not singing to you. But
No, that's exclusive.
That was the one time humiliated.
That's for
on
Megan,
air.
Candy, Carrie, and me.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in for the show. So glad to be back. And if you guys have any topics or ideas, feel free to shoot them to us or in the group or anything like that. And thank you so much for commenting, sharing. And we will see you back next Tuesday. We will have chicks and
Hold on. How is
weekend.
that messed up? I am not singing to Will. I love Will. I will call him on the phone, but that's about it. All right.
Run me some money, Jay, and I'll do it.
Yeah. And he'll be there in 11 hours.
Do you need my cash app? Because I can give you that.
Oh, Clarissa Shields. I do love that woman. She is the undisputed champ. She won her bout this last weekend as well. So definitely want to shout her out. All right, guys, that's it for the show tonight. Thank you so much. We will see you back next week for Chicks and Salsa, and we will have Candy on the show with us as well.
Thanks, y'all. Bye.
Good night.